Yesterday, Leeds United dismissed Jesse Marsch after a 1-0 defeat against Nottingham Forest on Sunday, which means 5 of the bottom 6 teams in the Premier League have now sacked their manager. Only West Ham United have stood by their man. David Moyes is the last manager standing. Okay, granted, if you look at the 3 teams above the bottom 6 in Nottingham Forest, Leicester City and Crystal Palace, they've also not sacked their manager. They've stood by, well, Patrick Vieira hasn't even been under pressure, but I do think that's going to come. I'm telling you, it's coming soon. But certainly Leicester City have stood by Brendan Rodgers, and Nottingham Forest not only stood by Steve Cooper, they gave him a new contract when he was under pressure. So it's not just West Ham. But I need a title and a thumbnail for the video, right? So let me have it, because factually it's true. 5 of the bottom 6 teams in the Premier League have sacked their manager. Only West Ham have not. But this is going to be a bit of a generic Premier League chit-chat video in case you haven't guessed already. There's not much West Ham news, and I like watching Premier League, I like talking about Premier League, so here we go. But there is a lot of West Ham things involved in it as the domino effect. And we're going to start with the Leeds United domino effect on West Ham, actually. They had to sack Jesse Marsch. I said after the defeat against Nottingham Forest, but it wasn't because of the defeat against Nottingham Forest. Leeds played quite well in that game. They were the better team. They created more chances, better chances. They did everything except stick the ball in the back of the net. But that's the same old under Jesse Marsch. That's the reason they haven't won a game in 3 months. It's not been good enough whatsoever. They had to get rid of him. And as a West Ham fan, I'm a bit disappointed. Selfishly, I was hoping he would stay there a little bit longer. I was watching that game on Sunday thinking we're better than both of these teams. This game gives me hope that we're going to stay up, even regardless of what we do, because of what I was seeing from Leeds and Nottingham Forest on Sunday. So Jesse Marsch going is bad news for 2 reasons. One is that reason, I've just given the form of it. The strange thing is the timing. Not just the fact that it's after the January transfer window, they brought in a couple of players and they gave Jesse Marsch 1 game. Well, they didn't. The signings have been here for longer than 1 game. But it's the only game after the window has actually closed. But to then bring in a new man, and he hasn't got that opportunity to make transfers, just feels a bit weird. But Robert came in, looks like a Jesse Marsch signing, just like Aronson did it in summer. Centre-back, can play left-back. Leeds' biggest weakness in that team is left back, in my opinion. But he put Wobber centre back and continued to play Struijk at left back. It just felt a little bit strange. It was a bit of a head scratcher. Outsider looking in, it was a bit of a head scratcher. Leeds fans are watching this. You may disagree. Feel free, but that's how I felt anyway. So the Jesse Marsch sacking, no surprise whatsoever. Nor is the early favourite for the job, Carlos Corberán. Obviously worked under Bielsa as well, done fantastic with Huddersfield, is doing fantastic with West Brom. It's no surprise to see him as the first name at the top of that list to take over from Leeds, and I think it would be a great appointment for the club and for the manager. Worryingly for West Ham, I think he would do well there. We can see what he's doing with West Brom and what he did with Huddersfield as well. How much worse what Huddersfield have got since he's left too is also another thing that suggests that he's just a really good manager. But I think the profile of that Leeds squad would suit Corberán as a manager. I think he would do well there. I think, in fact, the top 3 or 4 favourites for the Leeds job are all similar profiles of a manager. So clearly they've identified which type of manager they want to bring in terms of that high pressing, playing wide. And I think it's what the Leeds fans want to see, and I think the squad would suit those managers as well. So I'm a little bit worried as a West Ham fan, truth be told. But the second reason, and this is where the domino effect comes in, is, well, a month ago, West Ham were linked to Carlos Corberán. Now, that doesn't mean it's true. It could have been completely made up, but the rumours were that should David Moyes have been sacked, that Corberán was near the top of our list to replace him. Now, I didn't really believe it. I didn't believe it at all. Because, first of all, we would have to identify Corberán as a manager. I don't think we'd do that. And second of all, we'd have to pay compensation to West Brom to get him out that club. We wouldn't do that. Gold and Sullivan had never done that, West Ham. So when the rumour came out that they were going to do that for Corberán, I didn't believe it whatsoever. But hypothetically, if it was true, let's just say those rumours were true and that he was near the top of the list to replace David Moyes should we sack him, and of course he does join Leeds United, then you have to wonder what the impact would be within the boardroom of West Ham in regards to their potential replacements for David Moyes. Because we were given 2 reasons why they were sticking by Moyes when there was intense pressure. The first one was they had complete faith in him turning it around. It doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what you think. they had faith in David Moyes turning this round. Now, I don't think we've turned the corner yet. I don't even think we're on the corner. We're approaching it though. We're heading in the right direction. But he's got a long way to go yet. But the board had and have complete faith. But the second reason we were given was in regards to the availability of other managers. Essentially, if we were to sack David Moyes, somebody like David Moyes is exactly who we'd go get. There's not many people out there that we'd want. But we were given a handful of names. Corberán was one. He could be off the list. Sean Dyche was another. He is off the list. He's gone to Everton. Brilliant display. Fantastic result from them. So that would be 2 managers gone off the list straight away. Don't worry, Rafa Benitez is still available. However, I think all that is a bit of a moot point at the minute, because I think David Moyes' job's safe for a few games at least anyway. Everton game was the one game I felt that if we lost, he might have got sacked. But nevertheless, we won it. We've gone to Newcastle. We've drawn. Got 4 points out of our last 2 games. 6 games now in 2023. Won 3, drawn 2, lost 1. Form is picking up. The performances are improving as well. So the board at this minute are probably feeling justified in backing David Moyes up till this point. And I think that 3-game threat, let's call it, I think it's reset. I think David Moyes has got the Chelsea game, the Tottenham game and the Nottingham Forest game, regardless of how the other 2 go. We could lose against Chelsea, lose against Spurs. Moyes will be here for that Forest game. That's just a prediction, by the way. I don't know. I'm guessing. But what I will say, if I don't mind me blowing my own trumpet for just a minute, I've got my predictions right so far in regards to David Moyes' future. Because I just think he had credit in the bank, something that most of these managers that have got sacked didn't have at their club. Now, when I speak about credit in the bank, I think a lot of people misunderstand me. I say a lot, about 3 or 4 people in the comment section now and again misunderstand me. I'm not saying he's got credit in the bank with me, by the way. It's a prediction. I think he's got credit in the bank with the board, and that's why they've stuck with him and are sticking with him. And like I said, reason number 1, I think they've just got faith in David Moyes turning this round. But I don't think he's going anywhere, regardless of the results against Spurs and Chelsea. He'll be here for the Forest one. Should we lose both of them, then I'd imagine the pressure will be back on for that Nottingham Forest game, and then we'll have to judge it then. I think a lot depends on performances and the actual scorelines rather than just win, draw, lose kind of outcomes. But anyway, Corberán could be going to Leeds United. Dyche is going to Everton. But one good thing for West Ham, Nathan Jones is at Southampton. And this goes to show what happens when you get the appointment wrong. When you sack the manager, which we did with Hasenhüttl, and then you go get a new man in, and you don't get the new manager bounce. I mean, that's the one thing I've seen people say about, Leeds sacking Marsch. You're going, oh no, new manager bounce, that's them sorted. I guess there is an element of that. It's a bit of a myth to some extent, but it's one with some evidence actually, whereas other myths in football just don't have any evidence whatsoever, and it just becomes a bit of a tale more than anything. But there is something in it. But the good thing is, Leeds playing Everton in a couple of weeks. They can't both have the new manager bounce, can they? But Southampton never really had one. Nathan Jones went in there, started terribly, had a nice few games, a little purple patch, and then they've become terrible again. And he's just completely lost the support of the fan base altogether. He never really had it when he first arrived, but any support he did have, he's just set fire to it. I don't even mean he's lost it. He himself has set fire to it. And not only has he started a fire, he's thrown petrol on it, and he keeps on doing it. His comments are absolutely wild. I'm listening to what he's saying. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Now, I know a few Stoke fans, and they were saying that he's quite set in his ways. It's my way or the highway. He insists on playing wing backs. When he was there, he didn't have wing backs, didn't have personnel to fit those roles, but he just played them anyway. And it was a case of, I don't care if you disagree, and play my way. If you don't like it, get out of the club kind of thing. But he's just not really warmed Southampton fans whatsoever. They want rid of him already. Don't really blame them, but I don't think they'll get rid of him just yet. Apparently there's been some meetings already in regards to potentially sacking him, but the longer Jones is at Southampton, the better it is for West Ham, and the longer O'Neill is at Bournemouth, the better it is for West Ham. Another club that spent money, 60 million they spent in January. Now it has to be said, they looked alright. I've only seen highlights of the game against Brighton. I didn't see the full 90 minutes or anything. But they looked alright. Traore looks like a good signing. They've spent the cash. But then to go spend 60 million and then not get a manager to go with the signings just seems a little bit crazy, really. That O'Neill was struggling going into the January transfer window, but to go spend that much money and not rectify the person in charge of those players just seems a little bit bonkers. I imagine the O'Neill sacking, I mean, he might not get sacked, he might just get demoted at the club and then they get a manager in and O'Neill will have a role there. I mean, he was meant to be the caretaker anyway. That wasn't meant to be a permanent position. He just did pretty well when he first took over. But that was a new manager bounce. It's gone. They're not bouncing anymore, they're sinking. I think there will be a new manager at Bournemouth in the coming weeks. I'd be surprised if we didn't see that. I think Wolves will be fine. Big spend up in January. Lopetegui's got them playing better football anyway. I think their performances are better than their results. It's just a case of can they get that front end of the team to start clicking. I think Cunha's a really good signing for them. Hasn't quite shown what he can do just yet, but I think that will come good. Big win for them against Liverpool. Obviously Craig Dawson scoring as well, but I think they'll be okay. Last all I'm going to mention is Will Still. You lot are being a little bit cheeky. Every video I put up at the minute, there's at least one person saying, are you going to do a video on Will Still? And I've been putting it off. But because of the lack of news, I'm thinking I might do that video. I don't think you're going to like it though, in regards to what I've got to say about it. But I might do it anyway. I require a little bit of research, truth be told. Because until about a month ago, I'd never heard of the geezer. So doing a video on him is going to be a little bit difficult. However, it keeps getting requested. And I'm not one to sort of turn down requests. Especially when the news is thin. I'll take anything. All I need is one person to suggest something. I'll go, I'll have that. And I'll blame that person for doing the video. But Will Still keeps cropping up in the subscriber comments recently. So we might do that video next week. But if you've got any topic ideas of that, please put it in the comments below. Because myself and Gonzo can start using your ideas now that January transfer window's over and done with as well. And there's a week between each game at the minute. So between now and the Conference League coming back, we can start taking recommendations. And often, some people have some really good ideas for topics and questions. So anyway, get them below so we can pinch it. But there you go, I'm going to disappear. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different, a little bit more generic. I quite like talking about the Premier League though, so there you go. But you have enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to Hammer Chat. Catch you tomorrow.